So I have been having so much fun recently creating different insect glaive builds and switch axe builds that are not really in the meta conversation, they are off meta. They have a certain gimmick or they have a certain objective or a certain playstyle, and that's exactly what we have for today's build video. And the skill we have in conversation is Flayer. So the idea of this build or these kind of builds that I've been creating is to take one skill and try to make a build around it, or try to find a synergy with a different skill and then combine them both in one build. So today we have two skills that we will talk about, and those skills are Flayer and Pathbreaker. I have seen so many build videos and I haven't seen anyone invest on Flayer to the maximum level. I've seen maybe level 2 as the most amount that people will go to, and that really makes sense because Flayer is a level 3 decoration skill, and it takes or it competes with other useful skills like burst, like weakness exploit, like counterattack jewels. So it makes sense that people won't invest on Flayer at level 5. But that's exactly what I'm planning to do for this build. And Pathbreaker allows us to do more part damage and also allows us to do more damage when we attack the wounds with a focus strike. So these two skills work well off each other. So the first version is the comfier version, is the version you are seeing in the background right now, is the version I used to get the A rank against the Arch-Tempered Uth Duna and the challenge quest. The second version theoretically should have more damage because it has more affinity from the set bonus of the skills, and it has more potential to do damage. If you don't like Pathbreaker, you can slot in other skills like Counter Strike, but the second version is the one that stays true to the first or the original idea of having two skills that work together and building around them. So I don't want to waste so much time. I would just want to show you the gear pieces or the armor pieces and the decorations, and then jump to the second version, and then let you go back to watching watch the whole run so that you can see that I really did use the first version and still managed to get a run. So there are two versions for this build. One is more comfier than the other one. One has more affinity and more damage or damage potential. The first version only allows us to have one level of Pathbreaker if we want. We can have up to 3 levels, but we will have to lose 1 level of Flayer, 1 level of maximum might, 1 level of one level of Flayer, 1 level of maximum might, but then we will be sacrificing too much affinity. So I chose to just stick with 1 or none for this first version of the build, but we will sacrifice that, the use of Pathbreaker here for greater set bonus that give us a lot of health when we break wounds with a counter strike or destroy wounds in general. And that set bonus skill is from the Guardian Archvild Vitality or the Guardian Archvild Armor set. The 4-piece set bonus, Decimator 2, restores health when destroying a wound on a large monster. And you will see in the middle of the hunt when I destroy a wound with a focus strike, and then you will see the amount of healing I got. So the armor pieces that we will be using the Lagiacrus Helm Beta because it has 2 levels of maximum might, and it has 1 level 3 decoration slot with level 2 and level 1. So it's really one of the best helms in the game in my opinion. And we will be using the rest, the Guardian Archvild pieces, all of them beta. We will have the decoration slots. We have 2 Flayer jewels to maximize Flayer to level 5 and 1 mighty jewel to maximize maximum might, and then we will be left with 1 level 2 jewel. This is the one that you can use to slot either 1 level of Pathbreaker or do as I did and have 1 level of Vid Extender. We have 5 level 1 jewels or level 1 decoration slots. All of them up to you, all of them optional. If you want to stack stamina skills like physique to have your stamina depletion less, you can slot in physique, constitution, but I prefer to have some defensive skills like divine blessing, and then have 2 medicine jewels to even improve on the healing we get when we break the wounds on the monsters. And also we have the talisman, we have exploiter charm. In most of the builds that I post, I tell you this is an optional or is up to you, but in this build, because we are so limited in terms of decoration slots, we have to have exploiter charm to take weakness exploit to level 5. But if you don't want to, if you want to have counter strike, if you think we're sacrificing damage for too much affinity, or you think that you're better used or better served with raw damage, then you can either take counter strike at level 3 or level 2 burst. But for this build I opted for exploiter charm because I'm going to be attacking the weak spots of the monster anyways, and I will be trying to create the wounds in those spots anyways, so I went in with weakness exploit. And yeah, this is the first version. This is the version that you are seeing in the background when I'm talking about the build. This is the version I used to get the A rank. The second version stays true to the idea of having two skills who are supposed to have good synergy together, and build a build around them. And as I said, this one has more affinity and it has more damage output, in the sense that if you don't like Pathbreaker, if you think you don't really get much use from it, you can remove the Pathbreaker decorations and then slot in 3 levels of Counter-Strike. So for the second build, the armor pieces, we have the Lagiacrus Helm Beta and also the Lagiacrus Legs Beta to get the level 1 Azure Bolt set bonus. And we are using the Arcveld chest piece, which has 1 level of weakness exploit built in, and also level 3 and level 2 decoration slots. We are using the Raidao Sand Braces Gamma because of the 2 level 3 decorations, and it also has a really useful skill, which is Evid Extender level 2. And the waist, we have Guardian Arcveld Coil, mainly because it has 2 levels of Flayer built in. You could swap the chest piece for the Guardian Arcveld so that you can have 1 level of Decimator in your build if you want, but then you will have to sacrifice on Pathbreaker, you only manage to have 2 levels of it. For the decoration slots for this build, we have 3 Flayer Jewels to maximize Flayer to level 5. We have also 3 Destroyer Jewels to maximize Pathbreaker, and the level 1 decorations, we have Protection Jewels. These are, again, you can remove them if you want to. And also we have 1 Mighty Jewel to get maximum Might level 3. The charm still remains the same. To maximize weakness exploit, we are using the Exploiter charm. And yeah, this is the second version. Theoretically, this should have more affinity and more damage output. If you don't like the Pathbreaker combination with Flayer, you can remove Pathbreaker completely. You can slot in the counter jewels to get Counter-Strike level 3. And also, if you think having Flayer at level 5 is an overkill and it's, you have diminishing returns for it, you can take off 2 levels of Flayer and also either slot in Challenger for affinity and damage when the monster is angry, or you can take Chain Jewels that you can increase your damage the more you attack the monster. So yeah, this is the build. If you like these kind of builds, hit the subscribe button. I have another build that I'm working on that's focusing on Tool Specialist and Foray. And yeah, I will leave you to watch the rest of the run, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.